Hello, welcome to today's session. Today's topic is determination. And I thought what we are to do right away is talk about what does determination really mean. Webster says it's a finite and final decision to move ahead with something. That means a definite goal, something that you're not going to equivocate on, you're going to move forward on. That determination sometimes is applauded, like when you go back to school, or people will typically always applaud that type of effort. However, there may be other things where you might not be applauded. Matter of fact, you may find more obstacles than you find easy paths forward. But that's what people get credit for, right? That's what people get honor for. And sometimes that's the motivation. Simon Sinek says that we really need to know our why. And you get to thinking about it. The founding fathers had a why. It was written into our Declaration of Independence. The pursuit of liberty. The Texas independence people wanted liberty. All the people in the world that have fought for their independence had some deep-seated why beyond just personal pleasure or reward. Now, as salespeople, that can be a concern sometimes. I think it's best for you to find your passion, is to find your why. That's why I recommended that you take the personality test in a previous section. That's important. Know your why. It's going to sustain you to be determined. I have a couple of things I want to bring to you that I think you will find inspirational. Well, I've heard and read of a number of business success stories that required a significant amount of determination, but I've never quite read one like the story about Lester Tenney. Lester was in the Army at the early start of World War II. He was stationed in the Philippines when the Japanese attacked, and they were overwhelmed. Eventually, they ran out of food, water, and ammunition. And the general in charge of those thousands of men had to order the largest single surrender in the history of the U.S. military. The rest of the story continues when the Japanese forced the Filipino and the American soldiers on the Bataan Death March. It was 106 degrees. Many of the men were suffering from dysentery and malaria, and there was no dropping out. The Japanese consider it a sign of weakness if you surrendered, and so if you did, they either bayoneted the individuals or they cut their heads off. And so from that standpoint, there was some outside determination impinged upon those individuals, but Lester knew that he had to keep going or else. What he would say to himself, if I can just make that palm tree up there, I can keep going. If I can just make it to that turn in the road where the rest of the brigades are turning, I can survive. Finally, they got to the end of the death march. Many hundreds, if not thousands of men died on that march. And shortly thereafter, he was shipped to Japan to work in a coal mine. Amongst beatings and surviving on just a handful of rice a day, Lester would continue to say to himself, if I can just get back to America, reunite with my wife, I want to get an education, have a family, and have a career. And things persisted like that for 3 long years. Every day he would repeat, I just want to get back to my wife, have a family, get an education. He had the ultimate in determination. He had a vision of the future. Finally, the Americans dropped the 2 atomic bombs on Japan. They surrendered and the prisoners were released. Lester went to Okinawa first, and his brother flew over to help accompany him home, and he repeated his goal and his vision, his determination to get back and reunite with his wife. And his brother said, Lester, I hate to tell you this, but your wife assumed that you were dead and she married another man. Well, Lester didn't let that destroy him. He came back to the West Coast He got a PhD, became a university professor, married again, did have a family, and was actively involved in securing some reparations from the Japanese for the soldiers. That unfortunately did not happen. However, during the 1950s, he did get an apology from the Japanese Prime Minister, their Secretary of State, and ultimately the King. This high level of determination allows you to persist through some high level of difficulties that we're all going to experience in life. Fortunately, we don't have to go through the things like Lester Tenney went through, but as you well know, you're going to find some difficult areas, and I would encourage you to summon up that determination. Now, stay tuned as we're going to talk about vision, mission, your why, and how to turn that into a business platform for success. Now, how do we take this aspect of determination and turn it to our everyday goals and aspiration and vision for ourselves? Well, I think what we have to do is, in fact, have a big vision, a big goal that stretches us and makes us understand that we have a tremendous amount of capacity that can be developed. If it's not there, there's no reason or no excuses why you can't give that tremendous brain a workout and have it produce for you, because God gave it to you. It's there to use. Now, let's look at it again. So Cynic said, find your why. I say, find your passion. Take those tests that I prescribed earlier and find out what really motivates you, what sets you on fire, what do you lose yourself in, and then find ways to apply that in your life earning exercise. What you're doing to make money. Now, hopefully that's in a sales world, because that's where we're at. That's where I was at. I didn't know it when I was in college. I found out later. It worked extremely well. You too can go ahead and plug in, but it certainly helps. Know your why, have a vision, then that vision's going to help you find your mission statement. That's your daily activities that are going to produce for you incrementally, day by day, practicing excellence so you know what you're doing is going to achieve your goals for yourself, for your family, for your company. Plug into your passion so that you know your vision and your mission statement, those incremental steps you're taking every day, are going to produce a great future for you. That's what it's about from a standpoint of earning a living. Find your passion, go after it. You'll find it's very rewarding, and you can't beat the fact that you've got determination on your side.